Hey, hello everybody. Super good morning to everyone. Kevin Chan here, 7:30 in the morning. As usual, should be the last few 7:30 in the morning because next week son is going back to school. Right, son going back to school means that it have to be 8:30 after this. That's the only difference, right? So we will still do all the morning session is just gonna be shifting of the timing from 7:30 to 8:30 lah. So because need to send my son to school, my son school only start at 7:30 in the morning, right? So I need to dump him there. Then we need come back to the house. To start the broadcast, right? So that's about it, right? So yeah, morning first to Pekpoi, Manuel, Sabrina. Good morning to all of you for joining me this particular morning. So all our celebrations should be finished by now. 1st January New Year finish, Christmas finish, Chinese New Year finish, Chinese Valentine finish, English Valentine finish. There should be no more celebration after this already. At least for a bit of some time, which means that everybody should be back to the normal way of doing things, right? Right, so this is why today only I start sharing about 5 art, right? So to me, I want to integrate all the 5 art together, right? So and I've been spending a bit of a time trying to understand why 5 art is the 5 arts, right? So now I'm going to explain a little bit to you, the 5 arts, the differences, and the more importantly is the similar foundational method of foundational conceptual that is basically running on all the 5 art. All the 5 art actually run on the same foundational understanding, right? So I'm going to explain to you how does this particular work, and of course through this I want you to basically to feel and to take a look at how our forefathers is able to put all of these things together and create such a wonderful system for us to use. And of course with this I hope that all of us actually spend some time to actually use the system. That's all only, right? So let everybody have an opportunity to basically to understand what is happening. And for you to understand what is happening, you need to know what are the things that drive towards the reason for today, right? So this is going to be a series of talking about all the 5 arts. So of course because it's 5 arts, I need to split it into 5 different sessions. Right, so today's session we will first look at the mountain arts first, right? So we took a look at the mountain arts so that you understand what is actually categorized under the mountain arts and what are the things that you can benefit if let's say that you spend some chunk of your time of your life go and learn mountain arts. What are the benefits that you can basically get from this? All right, cool, that's fine, right? So now let me shrink myself down to the smaller, tinier version. Let's get going, right? So now what is this one? Now this one is a the Chinese has a long time have a lot of history, right? So one of the earliest shown that the Chinese civilization is civilized is actually through communication or language. So these are called 甲骨文. 甲骨文 is just basically old Chinese writing, right? So how Chinese writing evolved in the olden day, right? So this is discover archaeological digging. They discover all of these things, right? So when they dated this is before 2000 BC. So which means that Chinese history, so that's what a lot of people say that Chinese history begin like 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago mean that our 2,000 years of English calendar now is 2024, right? Is 2024 years, right? So in the English calendar, right? So then extend another 3,000 more years behind because of archaeological digging. So we have like look like the Chinese has civilization. So civilization is defined when people start to record stuff. All right, makes sense. When they start to record stuff, so when you start to find recording of things, right? So people start to write things down. Is there when, right? So of course through this one they also found a lot of Chinese metaphysics stuff. Chinese metaphysics theory is mostly observation of the astrological observation, right? So a lot of that is basically there. So there is actually no uniform agreement on when does Chinese metaphysics begin, right? What they know is that when does that particular arts start to popularize. So when it become what we call accessible to the common people, it become recognizable by people. You know, they have certain things. So we do not know who is the inventor, just put it in a way lah. But we know who actually collected all this information and start publishing stuff. Those we know, right? We have history of those, but who actually invented this? No idea, right? So, but to me, it's very simple lah. If all of this happened 5,000 years ago, doesn't matter 5,000, 3,000, 1,000, 2,000 years, I actually don't matter. I believe if this thing is not useful, it would have been evolved away. That's how the world works, right? If these things are not useful, it was not helpful at all, it cannot be used, right? It will naturally disappear. Agree or not? That's how the world works. But right now, until today, this same methodology of Chinese metaphysics is still being used, is still being treasured by people. There are still certain group of people who's using it, which means that it is actually useful. It's just that we don't use the more current common way of understanding or explaining it. That doesn't discount the usefulness of this particular system. Right, that's my personal belief first. I'll just tell you all first. Right, so that's why, you know, I feel very excited, you know, when I'm able to learn all this Chinese knowledge, because me being a Chinese, look like a Chinese, correct? I can't read and write Chinese, okay? Right, so Chinese is something that's very disabling to me, but hey, you know, doesn't worry about, you know, because of the advancement of English translation, you know, and certain people, you know, is basically willing to teach in the English medium. I was given the opportunity and chance to finally understand and appreciate this particular system. So because I personally benefited a lot from using this particular system on myself, that's why, you know, I spent a bit of a time in terms of educating people, right? You know, like spending the last 4 years every single morning doing what we call the content on this, right? Right, so it's not an easy fit, but you know, I find joy in doing this because why, you know, at least I'm part of the people who is right now trying to bring the ancient art of this Chinese metaphysics, you know, into the modern world. Right? At least, you know, I'm a little bit inside the history. Hopefully one day when I'm long gone, some people will remember there's this guy named Kevin Chan who will be doing all this stuff. Okay, hello Cindy, good morning. Right, so this is like 2000 BC, right? So if we move it a little bit, right? So during the Zhou dynasty, now during the Zhou dynasty is when the knowledge of Yin Yang started to flourish. The knowledge of Yin house, the feng shui, Yin house side starting to flourish. The knowledge of Qi Men Dun Jia starting to flourish. This is where the part of it, the Zhou dynasty, which is again, it is still BC. So it's 1000 to 250 BC, right? So it's about 1,000 years before Christ, right? So no, it's starting to flourish. Starting to flourish again means, right, there are people who start to collect all this knowledge together and they start to put it on print so that people can start reading. It is not that the knowledge wasn't there. It's just that before this, it was scattered all over the places. It was not consolidated. So consolidation happened during this time, and it is during this time that people start to be familiarized with this. So the feng shui, the qi men, you know, the yin yang knowledge was already there long time ago. So how long ago when it started? Personally, I don't care. But this is the time whereby, you know, it start to commonize. They start to collect all the things together and they start to put it on print. Now, whether it's paper print, whether it's bamboo stick print, you know, again, those things I don't really care too much. This is when the area whereby it become popularized, it become, you know, common to people. People start to know that, oh, there's such thing called the yin yang. So, of course, because, you know, now only people start to be familiarized with it, they can't explain where they come from. Okay? They don't have the ability to go and explain. And unlike science, you can explain why certain things work. But in Chinese metaphysics, there is no such thing as explaining why certain things work. Because why? It is a collection of stuff. You know, at the time that it become popularized, it's just a collection of stuff. It is not a proper research. Whoever who came out with this long date by then. right? So, and because last time everything was transmitted via verbal, yeah, there's a lot of things that went missing. Doesn't matter, right? It went missing, right? So no point asking why it went missing, how it went missing, all this kind of thing. Because why? For as long that, you know, body is already, you know, degraded, so, you know, don't bother asking, right? So it's just question is that, you know, does it work? Apparently it works lah. Even if it doesn't work, it wouldn't last until right now. Or some portion of it works. So, you know, because it works, some portion of it works, and you cannot explain it, and the best way to do so is to, you know, say, you know, it come from the sky lah. That would be the best way to basically do so, right? Because you need to deal with the general public. You do that, right? So it come from the sky, you know, it's magic. Whatever that the other party want to believe, whatever the other party want to swallow, right? You tell them, you know, as long as, you know, they apply and, you know, everybody benefit from the situation, then it's great, right? Understand or not, right? So you need to know that, you know, some of these particular basis point. Of course, today when you applied it, there is a little bit more explanation. Like how I normally do is that I explain to you how the entire thing basically come in, right? So most people won't be able to explain that because probably they don't have the mindset of explaining, right? So which I have, right? So, you know, so this one starting from the Zhou the Zhou dynasty, right? So the Zhou dynasty. So if you move a little bit more advanced, right? So it's during the Qin and the Han dynasty. So you can see this one is still in the BC stage and just came in back to the more modern stage, right? This is where a lot of those become even more what we call even more common, right? So like for example, the Huangdi Neijing was actually compiled during this particular time. Again, it is not invented, it is not authored during this time, it is actually compiled. Most of the thing that you will see, you know, in Chinese metaphysics is actually compilation of people's knowledge. It is not actually invented. So which means that the knowledge has already been there long time ago. So, you know, it will probably transmitted through verbal, right? Certain people collect it, then, you know, they have the ability to write already right now, right? So during this particular Qin and Han dynasty, writing has already been commonized, especially the Qin dynasty. Qin dynasty is the first dynasty that basically commonized writing. The Chinese kanji writing system, they are the one who commonized it. Last time it was like very messy one. Right, so they commonized one single writing system, right? So that's what Qin basically. They are the one who came up with the Qin wording dictionary. The first dictionary was actually Qinguo come out with, right? So that's how, you know, it goes. So then when you have the first dictionary, everybody language is basically commonized already. Then you can transmit among each other. Or else it's going to be very difficult, right? So it's like, you know, you get a room of different language people together, you know, then you ask them to talk in their language, right? And all of them doesn't understand each other language. It's very difficult to transmit information, right? It was during this particular time that writing now become very commonized, right? So this is also the time whereby Tai Yi and also Liu Ren, which is actually together with the Qimen Dunjia, right? So now you see, they are together with Qimen Dunjia. Doesn't mean Qimen Dunjia is earlier than them, but Qimen Dunjia is earlier written and compiled than them. Probably there are more people who understand Qimen Dunjia than Tai Yi Shen Shu and also Da Liu Ren, right? So these Tai Yi Shen Shu, Da Liu Ren, and also Qimen Dunjia, these are all the three very famous predictive tool, right? Or forecasting tool, right? So forecasting tool. So Tai Yi is to forecast a big national event. It's basically global event. Then they use Tai Yi to basically do the forecast. Liu Ren is to forecast mundane, everyday human stuff, right? So whereas the Qimen Dunjia is used to forecast what we call last time it used to forecast war, right? So you know, forecast war, you know, right? So those kind of things, right? So they have different utility, but this is the time whereby this particular art gain popularity. They start to know, right? So you can see that all this knowledge, you know, is basically something that is quite well in the historical world. It has been there around for a very long time. Right, so again, right, if this is no use, useless, cannot be used, you know, whatever it is, it would have disappeared. But why does it kept to be around for such a long time? Which means that there are people who practice it. The result is there, right? Again, they don't know how to explain the result, or, you know, the collection of data is basically there. It's not a reason for you to say that it doesn't work. Right, so this is the timing that you can see, and then if you go into the even the Song and Tang dynasty, right? So now this is where the San Yuan, the San He, feng shui, right? So feng shui become more refined. You get the San Yuan, San He, your Xuan Kong, whatever feng shui school is it. This is also when the Bazi system, right? So the Ziping, Ziping is during this particular dynasty. I think the Ziping is Song dynasty fellow. It's a Song dynasty fellow. So now again, Ziping did not invent Bazi. Bazi, he was already there long time ago before Ziping was born. Okay. The only thing was Ziping was a guy who is smart enough, or rather the brain capacity is good enough. So you can think of Ziping right now as AI. So like AI, like ChatGPT, right? Why ChatGPT is smart is because ChatGPT was given enough information to form a thinking pattern. So Ziping got very good thinking pattern. He decided to collect all the Bazi knowledge that was available and then rearrange the Bazi to Ziping method. So mostly the Bazi that we use today is called the Ziping method Bazi. It is not invented by Ziping, it just rearranged by this particular fellow. Thank for him. Right. So now before this, all Bazi is read through the year pillar. You don't know, I'll tell you. Before this, the year pillar is the most important pillar. Then when Ziping came in, after he arranged everything, he decided to move the year pillar, the important pillar, from year to day. Right. So that's where the day master was invented. Right, then with the day master, he also introduced 10 God, which is interaction between the day master and the rest of the chart, which is called the 10 God system. Right, so this is where wondering if this is before Buddha. Comprise, good question. Absolutely no idea. I've not studied Buddha yet. Right, I've not reached the stage whereby I'm interested to study the story of Buddha. This one I'm a bit what we call kebochi about the situation. So sometime I go and read a bit on the history of this. Right? So that's why today I can tell you. Right? Now, just the one that I want to basically inform you is that all this knowledge that we are sharing today, they have long history. It wasn't properly written or it wasn't properly documented. It's not something that I care about too much. Okay, right, I'm a practical fella, so to me is that the knowledge work or not, after about, a decade, so I've been around in the industry for 10 years already. I've been practicing for the past 10 years. It work or not, it works. Wonders, it works, right? Although sometimes I also cannot explain why does it work, but it works. Okay, so, but since it works, right, and it's something that you can learn, why don't you just learn it? why don't you just learn and use it, it's no magic, right? So do that. Right, so now this is where the feng shui, the Bazi, actually the Tang and Song dynasty is where this entire Chinese metaphysics thingy, right, is catapult, or you put it on the rocket and start going, it become very common. It become very common, right? So people start to practice in China, right? So a lot, right? So all these basically things is there. Then then what happened? Then what happened is come to the more modern era. So why does Chinese metaphysics suddenly disappeared? Right? So China decide to ban Chinese metaphysics. Was banned in China. Today it is still banned, if you don't know. So you go China, please do not simply talk about Chinese metaphysics. It is still under ban, right? So they banned the 4O, right? They banned the 4O, right? So 破四旧 is that what we call it? It's called break, destroy the 4O, right? Superstition is one of it. So Chinese metaphysics was classified under superstition, right? So there was a big clamp down for like almost 50 years, right? So all this, right? So they are not even allowed to pray to the ancestor during that particular time. Ancestral praying also was not allowed. All the incense, what we call the joss stick, right? So all the joss stick burning temple, whatever, all bad, right? So this is where all the Chinese metaphysics practitioner, right? So have to run, escape, and they go to Hong Kong, they go to Taiwan, right? So that's why Hong Kong and Taiwan, the Chinese metaphysics development continue, right? So but when they run that time, right, they couldn't take all the material with them. So what they have managed to take is that whatever knowledge that's inside their brain, and probably one summary manual that they can carry, and go over there. So you can see that there's going to be a big disconnect between the knowledge database, which is all left behind, then and go to this particular new place where they start from zero to re-practice everything. Right, so this is an era whereby a lot of the Chinese metaphysics knowledge that has been accumulated over the years was discontinued or disconnected. Right, so of course thank you to the modern era, we have managed to scour as many as possible of this knowledge, although it is incomplete. But I'm sure if everybody participate in this particular exercise and try to revive all of this, which means that you find as many information as possible, you contribute as many as possible. So I'm doing my little bit of a contribution to have this particular channel to does all this thing about Chinese metaphysics in English, right? So I know it's grossly lacking, but I do my little part lah. Now hopefully all these videos survive one day. Witchcraft prohibited in the early 18,000. Yes, right, in the early 18,000. So early 18,000, if you convert to back now, it's also only 200 years only. Right, can you see that modern history is actually very infancy when you compare to the breadth of history that we have? So that's why I said that a lot of things is modern invention. Now, since we have this Valentine's Day yesterday, right? Do you know that love is a modern invention? You don't know that, right? There was no such thing as love, probably 150 years ago. No such thing, right? The love become popular when literature become popular. All right, so because a lot of literature start to write about this topic romance, right? They start to write about this topic romance. Then only people start to have that thinking of this thing called romance. Before this, there was no such thing. Before this, it was all survival. Yeah, got food to eat, no food to eat. Why you get married to someone is because the other person got resource. That's it. Okay, that was the game in the olden day. And right now, we talk about love, whatever it is, right? So I do my own contribution a little bit, right? So now, this particular session is really to talk a little bit about the 5 art, right? So the 5 art in the Chinese metaphysics is art of mountain, art of medicinal, art of prediction, or you want to do forecast also can, right? So art of destiny, right? And also the art of physiognomy. So Chinese is San Yi Bok Meng Xiao, right? So that's the 5 separate arts, right? So all of this has similar foundational level things. They broke into different area. And of course, all these 5 areas keep on fighting with each other, as typical as Chinese is, right? So, because it takes a lifetime for you to learn one arts. So it is not as convenient today, you can go and learn all of them. Okay, all the available, right? So like John Kim here, just type in a Chinese word, which I cannot read. I guess it's Hong Lo Mong lah. I guess it's Hong Lo Mong. Right, but hey, Hong Lo Mong is the 18SX story lah way. Anyway, right, so this is the 5 art, right? So I'm trying to introduce this 5 art to you. I might not be able to teach all of them, especially medicinal art. Sorry, but medicinal is really out of reach for me because I'm too lazy to go and read medicinal stuff, right? So I tried reading the Fang Di Nei Jing and also the 草本纲目, 草本纲目, right? So I'm trying to read that one, but it really doesn't go into my brain, right? So it's not one of these things, right? It's not one of these things. So now today we're gonna talk a little bit about the mountains arts, right? So the mountain, all 5 arts govern different things, right? All 5 are govern different. So actually they have their own strong application place. Right, all of them have their own strong application place. So that's why when you apply this that time, if you use the correct method, you get the correct result. But a lot of people, sorry they use the wrong method, then they expect the correct result. Then no wonder it doesn't work. Okay, right? So now come, let's take a look at the mountain art. Right, mountain art is basically what, as the name suggests, it has to do with mountain. Mountain art a lot is self-cultivation. Right? The basis point is basically cultivating yourself, right? So self-cultivation itself. So really, literally in the olden days is that you excuse yourself to go into the mountain to understand about yourself. So you isolate yourself from the rest of the world, isolate yourself from the rest of the world, then you go into the mountain and then you start to understand about your own body working, right? Your own body, internal body working at all, you know, so you just exclude everything, right? So if you've seen the Chinese show before, right? Chinese show before, this is where the master 闭关领功. 闭关领功 mean that, you know, they go to a cave. Usually they go to a cave, then they close the cave door, right? You close the cave door, whichever method they are rich enough to make a door, then, you know, you close the door, right? If not, then, you know, they will kung fu the cave, and then then the cave collapse, so they will be trapped inside the cave like for maybe 15-20 years, I don't know, right? 15-20 years, that's where they, you know, cultivate for their own particular body into a state, right? So then when they finish the cultivation already, then the cave open, you know, then when they go out, there are a new person with, you know, new kung fu, right? So new kung fu, you know, things you have seen that before, right? You know, Chinese show. That is basically mountains art, right? That is called the mountain arts itself. So what is it actually, if you know, translate that today, right? So now today, the easiest one for you to understand is basically martial arts. Include qigong, tai chi, right? All form of martial art is basically the art of mountain. So when you take a look at martial art, that time martial art is training who? Training yourself, train your body, right? It's an internal training mechanism. It's an internal training. It's about understanding how your body move. You know, it's about developing your body. It's about that, right? So now, all the 5 art, the basis is the same. They always got yin and yang component, and there is always a trinity component, right? So that's why when I explain to you that time, you will see that the things that you understand is basically yin yang and also the trinity component. All of them have it. All of them have this yin yang and trinity component. So what's the difference? The yin and yang is applied differently. The trinity is applied differently, but the basis is the same. All 5 art, yin yang, trinity is there. So that's why, you know, when you are learning anything, right, you will start to see that why they always have this yin yang component and they always have this trinity component that's together. Because every single thing in Chinese metaphysics is yin yang trinity. If you start to understand yin yang trinity, then a lot of things can be interchanged, right? A lot of stuff can be interchanged. So now in you know, the mountain arts, the yin part is basically, now the common thing is qigong. Qigong is the yin part of it, right? So the yang part of it is basically your martial art. So both of them use what? Both of them use qi. Every single 5 art uses qi. Qi is one of the vital component inside. It's just how you basically using qi on it, right? How is qi basically being used, right? So these are just example. There are still many other things that probably is classified under this mountain art, right? So you want to say meditation. Meditation is, you know, part of the yin part of this mountain arts. You know, you go to mountain there, you know, and then you meditate, right? So that's basically it, right? So then the yang part of it is basically your, you know, all the different martial arts that you have, right? So different martial arts got what, you know, all your whatever martial arts sect that you have, right? So no, even if you take a look at the martial art movie itself, right, you know, so, you know, they got Kim Hei, right? So, you know, the Hua Shan Lun Kim. So I don't know whether you guys know, you know, the Hua Shan sword fight was actually fighting between the internal sword spirit sect and also the external, the sword method sect. Both of them fight each other, right? The sword spirit sect said that, you know, the sword spirit Kim Hei is more important. Then the other side is Kim Chiu. Kim Chiu is more important. So they fight each other, right? But in actual sense, for you to be good at anything, you need both yin and yang. Right? We are our thinking method is just in that way, is that, you know, we always have this, must be this or that type of thinking method. We cannot think like everything is supposed to be together. So yin and yang is supposed to be together. They are supposed to be together, right? So no, it's not thing, right? Aligned with meditation and mindfulness, cultivation, self-discipline. Yeah, correct. I know these are all right. So as long as your concentration point is yourself, right? It's basically yourself is there, right? So now combine together. You know, so I got a lot of these sort of charts. Explaining this sort of chart is difficult. Right, so now the yin portion of the mountain art is actually about healing and regeneration. Right, so the entire mountain art is about cultivating internal qi. So what do you do with the internal qi that's cultivated inside of you, right? So for it to work, it needs 3 components for it to work. So one is called the form component, right? So form component is all the the Tai Chi movement. If you go karate, they call it the kata. The movement, right? The movement itself. Now the movement itself actually got nothing one. Movement is just movement, right? It doesn't really do much, right? But you need the particular movement itself for it to work. Then another part is basically the qi, right? So in qigong, right? So that will be the qi field, right? So in qigong, they will teach you how to recognize qi. Yes, if you go and learn qigong, right? So they will teach you method, form, action that you can do to basically recognize qi. So if you take a look at it, then in qigong is basically la qi. Right, la qi is one of the exercise that they do, and a very important component a lot of people forget about the component is actually the mind component, which is the intent. The qi has no intent, that's why it doesn't work. You have to put in intent to the qi, right? So in form of AI is that you need to contextualize for the AI to give you the correct answer. Right, so you need to contextualize everything for you to go to the correct answer. So the yin part of the mountain art is actually for healing and regeneration, whereas the yang part of it is actually for attack and defense. Right, so it's using the same qi. It's using the same qi. So one is using the qi inside of you to heal and also to regenerate. Another one is to expel the qi, move the qi outside of you for attack and defense. So in actual sense, martial art, it is not a it's not a muscle game, right? You can see that sometimes in Tai Chi, right, the Tai Chi fella can move a very big muscle guy and just move the fella around like a puppet, right? High level what we call qigong master who actually does know how to do around with qigong, proper one, right? So they can move around, say liang bu qing gan we call. Right, they can actually do this, and sometimes when you see that somebody can much smaller can strike a much bigger guy, right? So it's the those guys that go and punch concrete, right? Go and punch concrete, right? So under normal circumstances, your hand, your bone usually cannot take the hit on the concrete, but how come they can? Because they intentionally or unintentionally they has the ability to push the qi outside of them to does the damage. It's actually the entire things. Right now, the yang part of it, I am not good at it. No need to take a look. I don't know how to fight. I haven't went and learned. Okay, right. But the yin part of it, which is the qigong of it, right? So that part I understand. Right, that part I understand. That's part I will. So if you follow me on excursion, right? So a lot of time I will teach you how to detect qi. Right, so because when you go for excursion, when you go for feng shui excursion, right, a lot of time you want to know, whether this place the qi is good or not good. Right, so now later then you start to understand that if you can detect qi, the qi is actually used for bazi, the qi is used for qi men, the qi is basically used for feng shui. All of them is basically run on qi. Qi is the field, qi is the exchange component, right? So which means that you understand one, and almost all of these art, the only arts that teaches you how to detect feel qi is qigong. That's the only one, right? Whether you are learning the yang version or the yin version, both of them will basically teach you how to work with your qi, right? So if you want to learn the qi part of it, I highly suggest you sign up for a qigong class. Hopefully your qigong teacher is the proper one. That part of it I can't. All right. So again, I'm not a qigong teacher because why? It takes too much patience. I don't have. Right? Patience I don't have. But if you come for excursion, I'll teach you. Right? At least to the point whereby, oh, this is the feeling of qi. Right? Then you go to different places. When you start to do this, then you start to see, oh no, this particular area is stronger than another area. Like that, you can identify qi. Right, so then it's easier for you to do all your manifestation. Same thing when you do manifestation, a lot of people say, oh 64 to 0 don't know how to do. Use qigong. Use qigong is faster. Okay, please do one in Singapore. Singapore is difficult. Right, Singapore very difficult. Okay, but how do you feel when qi is strong? Kahing, come join some excursion. I teach you. Now once you know how to do it, it's actually very easy one. It's like normal. It's like normal. No, it's like any other arts, any other skill, right? So it's like I push you into water. How do you know you can swim? You know you can swim when you know you can swim. Need to do it in good chi place. Not exactly. Right? Not exactly. You can detect chi any place that you have. It's just that when the chi field there is a bit more stronger, I think it's easier for you to detect it. Once you detect it already, it's pretty easy to continue to detect the chi. Right? Can you feel chi for other people? Can. Right? Can feel chi for other people. That's what healing. Right? So Qigong healing basically does. Right? So Qigong healing. Right, so let's take a look. Right, so like level 1, right, so this is for internal qigong. Level tells you there's 3 levels in internal qigong. Not easy to get from one level to another level. Okay, not easy to get from one level to another level. And I also say that I don't know whether why you can't predict it. Like Dragon Ball a bit can right? So like level 1 is basically identification of qi and exchange of qi. So this is La Qi Peng Qi. Right? For those of you who are basically in the Chinese the Qigong world, you would be very familiar with this entire things called La Qi and also Peng Qi. Right? So if you see people start doing I think this movement. Right? So this is basically the La Qi, and then you see them doing this movement. Okay? I'm sure you've seen before, so any Kung Fu movie you also seen this before. Oh, that is called La Qi Peng Qi. Right, so that one facilitate detection of qi and also exchange of qi between external and internal. This level very easy to get into, but not easy to master. Right, so because the connection to the qi is very difficult to continuously make it work. Continuously make it work very difficult. Right, so like if you go for excursion with me, I teach you this level. Then second level is to use the qi to clear and also strengthen. Because why? We got meridian point. The qi travel through meridian point, or in Chinese what we call mai. Right? So mak mun, mai men, mai. Right? So this meridian is not something that is in English dictionary. It's not in English dictionary. A lot of people think that the mai is the vein. It is not. Right? It's not a physical thing. The mind is not a physical thing. Right? So you cannot cut the mind out and show it to people. This is my mind. It doesn't work that way. Right? But the qi travel using your mind. So when the qi travel using your mind is like a highway or a road. Most of the time you have not trained your mind before. So your mind is either too fragile to contain the qi, or it is blocked. For most people, it's basically blocked. Right? So very similar to the meditation method, 7 meridian point. In a way, yes. In a way, yes. Right? So the Qigong also, they have 7 gate. You try to open the 7 gate. But again, keep everything simple. Is that you just imagine, so there is this qi that now you can detect and exchange, right? Detect and exchange. So you want the qi to travel inside your body, right? So which means that the body got a super highway called the mind. Okay, right? So the mind channel, right? So mak channel, right? So but this mak channel, because you have not cleaned it before. Ever since you were born, you're not using it before, So you just imagine the road got grass. Right, so you need to use the qi to slowly clean all your mind. This particular phase is usually very difficult. Okay, it's very, very difficult for you to do. So once all your mind is strengthened and also cleared already, then the last part of it is that you can easily transport qi from one position to another position and command the qi to do healing. Interesting, right, interesting to play, right? So this is how qi basically done. Now, same thing. If this is the external qi, right, which is the martial art. Martial art also still begin with the entire idea of identifying and exchanging qi, right? So then the next thing that they do is also the same. They train to basically clear up the internal mind, right? So then the next thing is that instead of transporting the qi to the organ for healing, they will transport the qi to be expelled externally so that it can use to attack the other person. It's just how you command the exchange of the qi only. So the level 3 is Kamehameha. Yeah, oh, cha. Right, or you how you can also can, doesn't matter. Right, doesn't matter which method it is. So can you see that it's actually the same. Right, so some part of yoga when they work with breath and moving the energy around different part of the body. Yes, Kahing is actually similar stuff. Right, so all of this particular knowledge is actually working on similar, very, very similar foundational energy. It's just that again, we don't want to acknowledge and agree with each other, because we got certain brand to protect. It's my brand, it's your brand, it's developed brand. We Chinese are notorious for that. Even one group of qigong will attack another group of qigong, while the qigong is basically same basis. All qigong is trying to do the same thing. When they teach you, is really identify, exchange, clear, strengthen, transport, use. That's it. Finish. You want to learn, you just learn this only. No matter whichever brand that you go, it's the same thing. Exact same. It's just that the form is different, right? So the way that it's basically run is a bit different. Right? Can see, right? So now, try my best to introduce that to you guys when you guys, maybe come for excursion, because this one need a little bit of a physical time for you to do. Very interesting, consciousness and subconsciousness manipulation, basically. Yeah. Okay. Focus on qi is focusing of intention. The qi doesn't work if you don't have an intent. It's like cooking. The ingredient is of no use if you do not have an actual recipe. So which means that, there's no point you have ingredient and then you throw the ingredient into the wok and then you start to heat up the wok and then king, and then you expect certain thing to come out. It doesn't work that way. You just imagine cooking. You got ingredients, so qi is the ingredient, right? All right, so then the physical form is basically the cooking, chang. But right now you have no intention. There's no what we call you don't have any recipe. In your mind, you don't know what the f you are cooking. So tell me, you just ching all the ingredient together and then pour it onto a plate, like what happened? Cannot, it doesn't work that way, correct or not? So that's why a lot of time, when people learn qigong, right, at least at the higher level, the intention part of it, usually at the higher level only they teach you how to incorporate intention into it. You have to incorporate intention into it, right? So like, a lot of time I tell people, what's your objective? No objective, no need to talk. All method doesn't work if you do not have an actual objective, right? Objective, ingredient, do the work, right? So that's why, you need to. So that's why, sometimes, when people ask, oh, no, how long should I activate this? If you ask how long should I activate this, I confirm, I know that you don't have any objective. Because if you know you have an actual definite objective, you already know how long already. Your objective would already given you a timeline, How do you tell if Qigong master is authentic? You have to go and try John. Same question. How do you know if the cook is good? Order some food, go makan. Can't help you with that. Okay, order some food, go makan, right? So it even come to a place whereby, I always tell people, right, the same thing is spoken by two different fella. One fella you understand, one fella you don't understand. Biggest example I can tell you is Simon Sinek versus Gary Vee. So Gary Vee swear a lot, Simon Sinek don't. Simon Sinek's very nice, very compassionate. Gary Vee, no, right? Gary Vee, scold you means scold you. Right, but both of them talk about the same exact thing: leadership, entrepreneur. Right, so you prescribe to which one is right, which one is wrong. Both of them are actually correct. They come from the same foundational basis. Right, their foundational basis is the same. Even if you see them, it's very different because I watch a lot of that two fellas video. Okay, right, it's very two different way of presenting the exact same knowledge. So same thing with you, you have to go and experience it. You have to go and experience that particular fellow. So that part of it, I can't help you because I don't know what you have access to, who you have access to, whatever it is, right? So same thing with anything. Doctor also is the same, right? How do you know if the doctor is good or not? The doctor got certificate. Every doctor also got certificate, okay? Right? So how? Go inside, let him butcher you. right? No guarantee answer. Sorry, I don't have any guarantee answer. Right, so you need to have some time to go and discover it yourself, right? So do right. So what I do is that when you come over, I can teach you how to detect chi. Right, then once you know how to detect chi, you have that particular feeling of chi already, right? So I can teach you how to exchange chi, because that one is the easiest to teach. Shortest amount of time you'll be able to go like, oh, this is basically how chi is. Now then after that, this is where the hard journey come in. The rest of it, if you want to go and learn, go ahead, right? So go ahead and find somebody to go and learn. Must try out training with several master. Yes, unfortunately it's like that. Same thing with doctor, same thing with cook, same thing with every single thing also, the entire idea is that you have to go and try out. Okay, go and try out, see what's the feel. Learning also is the same, right? So like my explanation might not work with everybody. Somebody else's explanation might be better, but we are teaching the same thing. So Chinese metaphysics is actually no different. No one has invented anything new into it. All of us are just repeating the same old stuff. Yeah, 5,000 years of knowledge, we're repeating the same old stuff, right? So why certain people say you understand, certain people say you don't, right? So it also took me some time to basically understand that all 5 of these actually work on the same basis. Right, so now later when we talk about the rest, you will start to see that, this also run on the same basis, this also run on this. So once you understand all of them run on the same basis, right, then you understand something. Then they are interchangeable. Yes, they are interchangeable. Right, they are interchangeable. Right, so then once you have that, then you know that, this one actually can. When I understand this fully, I can actually transport a lot of the foundational knowledge to this. And when I learn this, right, I don't have to start from scratch. So that gives you an opportunity to learn all. Then once you understand what are the specialization of each of this, then you know during this particular time, I need this particular. Like for example, if you want to do healing, right? You want to do healing, is either mountain art or the medicinal art. Right? So now mountain art is internal chi, then medicinal art is external chi. Right, start to understand, this is internal, external, right? So then this is how you go through the entire process. All right, guys, as time goes by, I'll explain to you the rest. Hopefully this will pique your interest. My intention is to pique your interest, and so that you start to see that, our forefather has such vast experience. Maybe me as somebody who is in this particular world might want to learn a little bit more. When you start to understand a little bit more, I hopefully that you would start to encourage others to understand it as well. So I want one day probably this become something that all of us can easily use for ourselves, right? Improve ourselves, move ourselves forward, because I benefited a lot from practicing this, understanding this, using this, helping people with this, right? So hopefully more people get onto the bandwagon and we spread this out a little bit more than normal, right? I also happy that I've contributed a little bit to this small little planet called Earth. All right, guys, that's it for today's session, right? So I'll see you guys again when I see you guys again. Bye.